Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. Welcome back to the channel. It's been about 6 weeks since I've posted, so I figured you guys have had enough time off from me. So, yeah, and I'm back. So, yeah, as you can tell by the title, these are a couple of things that I've seen Muslims do, and basically we need to stop doing them, right? Now, the first one is the confirmation bias. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone is guilty of this, regardless of their religious affiliation or lack thereof. Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know what confirmation bias is, a confirmation bias is essentially where if you believe something to be true, and you read something that backs up that belief, you automatically accept what you just read as being completely and 100% factual without doing any digging whatsoever. However, if you read something that seems to disprove what you believe is already true, you will go through that what you read with a fine-tooth comb. You will, investigate who wrote it, and see if they've have any credentials to even be speaking on this subject. Quite frankly, it's hypocrisy, to put it bluntly. Now, Muslims can kind of be the same way here. So this is a while ago now, but I saw something on Instagram, and it was talking about one of the sunnahs. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, there is a sunnah in Islam that states that if you are eating or drinking anything, you should be sat down while you're doing it. And again, there was something on Instagram that says science now proves that it's better to be sat down when eating and drinking because to be stood up while doing it causes gravity to kick in more, and eventually it will wear down like your stomach lining or something. Now, lots of Muslims immediately saw this and just assumed this was completely true. It's not. There is no evidence whatsoever to, or at least scientifically, to suggest that eating standing up is better than eating sitting down. And it certainly isn't that gravity will kick in and take effect or anything like that, because quite frankly, it isn't just a straight shot down to the stomach. Now, don't get me wrong, Islam has never stated that you should eat and drink sitting down for scientifically beneficial reasons. It doesn't state a reason why you should do this, it just says it's better to do these things. Now, my own personal belief is the fact that it's better to do this because of etiquette reasons. Because there have been times where I've made food while I'm in the kitchen and I'm eating it while being stood up, still in the kitchen. My parents would then come in and ask me why I'm eating while standing up. And bearing in mind, my parents aren't Muslim, so they're not asking this from an Islamic viewpoint. Personally, I think they're asking it because it looks weird to see someone eating while they're stood up. It doesn't look right. So yeah, if you want that's my personal reason on why the sunnah is to eat and drink sitting down, right? The other reason that, like I say, this whole Instagram thing was a bit of a problem, because obviously, yeah, you have loads of Muslims immediately jumping on the bandwagon saying, this has been scientifically proven now, it must be true, when obviously there was no scientific reasoning behind it whatsoever. The other problem with this is if you automatically take this to be true, and then you start using this in arguments with people and debates with people, well, the moment it comes out that it isn't true, you're going to look stupid. At the end of the day, you will. So, yeah, that's just one thing that Muslims seem to stop doing, quite frankly. Whether something seems to prove something from Islam to be true or false, you should still do the same level of research regardless. You should still look into what the article actually says, if it's an article. You should still look into, who wrote this article, what credentials they have, what their background is, if they've written any similar articles, on the subject or whatever the case may be. Purely just for the sake of truth and reasoning. You should make sure whether the articles you're reading are true or not. And don't just assume that they are purely because they back up something that you already believe. So yeah, that's the confirmation bias thing. The second part of this video is that certain Muslims will occasionally like to use the religion in very convenient ways to get around certain things in ways they don't really have a right to use the religion. What I mean by this, so for example, back when I used to work at McDonald's, one of the managers was telling me something about another store which was somewhat close by, and one of the employees there was also Muslim, and apparently every time he had to pray, he would have to leave work and go home to pray. And that's what I mean when I say you're using the religion in ways that you're not supposed to be using it. Because, for example, the whole world is pretty much a mosque for us to pray in. That's why we have prayer rugs. Now, he was exempt from going to the mosque because from where this particular McDonald's was located, you would not be able to hear the adhan being called from the mosque. If you can't hear the adhan being called from the mosque, you're exempt from going to the mosque because you're too far away. So, yeah, and obviously he was using Islam and the fact that these people wouldn't have known any better to basically use it to take more breaks from work. That is a terrible thing to do. Not only is it as sinful because you're lying, you're also potentially lying upon Allah's name in that sense, because you're using religious reasons in your lies. Thirdly, not only are you making yourself look bad, you're making the rest of us look bad. Because now any Muslims who do genuinely want to go and pray are now going to be looked at with suspicion on the grounds that they're just using prayers and as an excuse to get out of working. So, yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing is, now this next part I actually heard in a khutbah, and obviously I'll post the link to that below because I believe the whole khutbah is beneficial. It's only about half an hour. Is basically the sheikh was saying that I think it was either his son or somebody else wanted to be like a video game programmer and tester, and was using essentially that as his excuse for not getting an actual job and just sitting home and playing PlayStation all day. And the sheikh said to him, he goes, that's fine, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But you need to go out and get a job. You need to go down to McDonald's or Burger King and apply and start working there so you can bring in some money. Because you're a grown man, you need to start earning your own money. And the kid's excuse is, I can't work there because it's not halal. Now, according to the sheikh, there is no job within the UK, since this took place within the UK, where it is completely halal from top to bottom. There is not a single job in there. Now, the thing that I think is also funny about this is the fact that many Muslims will say that they can't work at McDonald's because it's not halal, but they'll still eat there. So, do you see what I mean? There's still some hypocrisy in the belief of these people. Because fair enough, if you don't eat there either, and you don't go anywhere near it because you don't believe it's halal, and therefore you also don't want to work there, that's fair enough. That's fine. But don't, like I say, be hypocritical in the sense of you'll eat there but you won't work there. Because what they really mean, because it's not because they don't sell halal meat, it's because they think they're too good to be working at McDonald's. That's essentially what it is. And that can lead to being too prideful and being arrogant, which of course can lead to the hellfire. So this is why, as Muslims, we need to stay away from things like this. So let's be honest, no one watching this is too good to work at McDonald's, because I guarantee you, if you, whatever you're doing, if you lost your job and the only thing that was hiring was McDonald's, you would have to work there. And there it is. So yeah, that's the first part. The next part I want to get into is talking about halal restaurants. And this also ties back into the confirmation bias part. There is a halal restaurant near where I live, and obviously it has the stickers, saying it's halal on the front door in both English and Arabic and everything else. Yeah, and this restaurant, at the time that this event took place, had been open for about 18 months or 2 years. And there was people I was talking to, and they came down, we all went out to this restaurant, and one of them actually went up to the counter to ask to see their certificate to prove that they were a halal restaurant, and they didn't have one. Now, I don't know anything about the food industry in general, or the halal food industry in particular, but I'm assuming it doesn't take you 18 months to 2 years to receive your certificate to state that you are a halal restaurant. But because, again, Muslims just assuming the best, because in Islam we are allowed to do that, they assume that because it was a halal restaurant, they must have a certificate. It turns out they didn't. I don't know if they have one. I haven't really been back since, I don't think. So, yeah, I don't even know if they have one now. But again, just because, like I say, a restaurant that says it's halal, you should still double check just to be on the safe side. Just, for your own peace of mind. Again, obviously, if you know that because a lot of restaurants will just have the certificate framed and hanging up so you can see it for yourself, that's fine. But if they don't, then yeah, just don't be afraid to ask. It's your right as a Muslim to be able to ask for this. But yeah, guys, that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about for today. So yeah, guys, if you see something that seems to, whether it proves or disproves something that Islam states, do the same amount of homework, that you would if it was an article that openly disproved something that Islam said. You owe that for the sake of truth. You should be doing that. And yeah, stop using the religion in ways that are not intended to be. Stop using the religion to try and conveniently excuse yourself, or in some cases lying, to get out of doing something you just don't want to do. That's not what the religion is there for. Because not only does that make you look bad, it makes other Muslims look bad. Alright? So yeah, guys, that's all for this one. Thank you for tuning in. I wish you all the best, and until next time, peace.